Alright guys, this is another Patreon request, and this one comes from Bill McLaughlin. As always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the third tier, and you guys can send me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, yeah, let's get started. So this is another video like the one Nolan sent me, where it's a subject I now do exclusively on Patreon, where this is crossover pairings, and it's basically where I take two characters and talk about what would it be like if they were a couple. And as you can see from this video, we're going to be talking about what would it be like if Garrus Vicarian from Mass Effect and Starling from Stormhawks were a couple. So what would that be like? And don't say, but he's not human! You can do a romance thing with him if you do Femme Shepherd. B, you're talking to a guy who ships her with Repton, which I'm aware is, if you're a Stormhawks fan, is a whole can of worms, but we're just going to ignore that. Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's get into this story. Let's get into this story. I mean, not story. This whole thing. So, what would it be like if Garrus and Starling were a couple? Now, it's not that hard to see these two. It's kind of like, again, it's kind of like it's kind of like Female Shepherd with Garrus, because depending on how you play it, you can Starling can definitely be like a soldier who has been kind of jaded by war, who has been screwed over repeatedly, constantly, beaten down mercilessly by those who she's fought, and is kind of a little jaded by the war itself. So yeah, it's Garrus has been also kind of jaded in his own right. Garrus himself has been, you know, dealt some pretty awful hands in his life, obviously dealing with the war, as well as what happened with the killer that got away. He's kind of lived in kind of the gray twilight. So that's where I think they would kind of have some common ground, is where the two of them would start out as like these two jaded soldiers who have essentially, for lack of a better word, been fucked over and like left in a world where they've been kind of compromised by their own morals, and they've even had to compromise their own very souls in a way for their own common good. I think it would also be a lot of fun because both Garrus and Starling are really catty. I would really think that the two of them would basically be would very much be at the start of it, kind of like having fun banter between the two. They both have, like, Starling and Garrus have some really sharp wit to the two of them, so I could totally see the two of them kind of like having this fun banter between them, and it kind of leads to other stuff, because I think it would start out as that Garrus and Starling would more or less like kind of like jab at one another, and it would kind of like them talk about like deeper stuff, and it would also be kind of fun to seeing, like, Starling going in, you know, kicking ass left and right, and then, like, as she's about to take out someone, just this bolt just comes flying in and just headshots him, and he's like, "You're getting slow, honey," and she's like, "That's why I have you watching my back." So I think that would be a lot of fun, of just having, like, Garrus sitting up in, like, some crow's nest or, like, miles away with his sniper rifle, and just kind of, like, picking off left and right and guarding Starling during whatever situation they get themselves into. I also think that the two of them would be willing and accepting of of carrying out kind of darker things, and more or less be accepting of, like, that comes with the job. Like, this is something that it's shit that needs to be done, basically. It's also stuff where I think, like, they wouldn't judge one another. There would be no judgment between the two of them in these matters, because they've basically lived their entire lives doing horrendous shit. So if one went out one night and came back with blood all over them, the other would be like, So you want to talk about it, or you want to wait? So that's how I see it, really. Like, that's how I really see this, is that the two of them are just these, like, Garrus and Starling are these two war-weary soldiers who have just been through the ringer, just consistently through the ringer every single time, and now here they are, like, kind of, like, decompressing to one another. Yeah. So, I think they would be kind of a good, they would be a really good pairing. I think it would be pretty solid. And again, I reiterate, the banter between the two of them would be awesome. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if Garrus and Starling were in a relationship? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Bill McLaughlin for his Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.